All right, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so keeping the wild wild. And this is so important. And I'm so happy that you guys are joining me today to learn more about environmental stewardship. Again, if you have questions or if you want to jot down my email address where you can reach out to me at a later date, feel free to do that. I have it right here on the screen, and I also will show it at the end of the presentation. I'm going to start with a video to set the tone of why environmental stewardship is so important.
I am home. I give you comfort. I shelter your family. See me for who I am. Home, sweet home. I am your refuge. I am the floor that supports you, the foundation that keeps you steady, the walls that give you shelter, the roof that protects you. I am your home. If you don't take care of me, I cannot take care of you.
All right, so that hits home for me because whenever we talk about environmental stewardship, I think that the one key element that drives people to want to help the earth is they realize that earth is our home and we are a part of the environment. So an official definition for environmental stewardship is the responsible use and protection of the natural environment through conservation and sustainable practices to enhance ecosystem resilience and human well-being. So simply putting it, it's, in my mind, it's our responsibility to utilize our natural resources responsibly and to protect our natural resources. It is so very important to have a balanced ecosystem with diverse biodiversity, not only for the health of the earth, but for humans' health. Ways to practice environmental stewardship. For one, you guys are practicing environmental stewardship right now. Over the past couple of days, you've decided that you are going to join the junior conservation camp virtually. You have been learning about environmental issues that we are facing. You're learning about the animals and insects and the floral aspects of the environment and how to take care of it. So these are, this is a step to environmental stewardship. You guys probably already do a lot of this on your own and just don't really think of yourself as an environmental steward. But there's also the restoration and protection aspect. These pictures here, planting a tree and conducting cleanups, those are huge and very important in taking care of the earth. For them to find itself back along the riverbanks and the trails and the roadways. So if you end up wanting to do a river cleanup or do a cleanup, you can always reach out to the DEP's REAP program or reach out to myself or Debbie or Beth, and we can help you get supplies that you need for a river cleanup or a roadway cleanup. You can adopt a highway. You can form a group or as a family. And those are just some very easy things that we can do, but really makes a huge impact on our environment. Litter is just a very harmful thing for the environment. And it is just unfortunate that we still have to clean up litter. But thankfully for the environmental stewardships and stewards, they are out there and they're cleaning up every day. There's people out there and trying their best. So it's simple, it's easy. We have materials and tools for you to do that. And another thing you could do is just simply planting a tree. You can plant a tree in your backyard, or you can talk to a local park and see if you can volunteer there and plant trees. A big thing that I think that every one of us can do is your everyday choices. You can choose to make conscious decisions on your actions, on how to protect the natural environment, how to conserve our resources. So the key, I know all of you guys have heard it, reduce, reuse, and recycle. That can be your motto in that order. You can choose to reduce the amount of waste that you use. You can choose to not use the single-use plastics, such as a straw or a soda bottle or a single-use plastic bottle, water bottle. You could replace that with your reusable water bottle. You could even decide that you are going to walk to the store if it's close enough, or bike to the store instead of driving your car. All those little things add up. And I feel like if we take responsibility of our own actions, and all of us here in this room, the Zoom room, we can make a big difference. So that's where it's like one voice can make a difference. We don't have to rely on someone else to decide for ourselves that we're not going to use a single-use plastic straw. And then community, yes.
Is leave no trace. It's a really cool thing that almost every single park does, and it's only leave footprints and only take pictures. Don't take anything and don't leave trash. And
absolutely. Oh, thank you so much for bringing that up. That is perfect. That's a perfect example. You can choose to leave no trace. And as you explained, there's principles to that. And they're simple, simply by planning ahead, leaving what you find. So just taking a picture of that beautiful flower and not actually picking the flower, or definitely not leaving your trash. If you pack it in, you're expected to pack it out. So that's beautiful. Thank you for bringing that up. And that's a choice that you can make whenever you're out visiting the parks and our wilderness. So community awareness, what you guys are learning in conservation camp yesterday and today, you can go back and you can share that with your friends. If you guys utilize social media, you can share facts and information about why plastic pollution is so bad. You can also share a picture of your t-shirt bag that you made, and maybe even provide directions on how to do it to inspire people in your community to start becoming environmental stewards. Some people are not aware of the issues, and so it's kind of our responsibility, if we learn something, to pass it on and to teach others. If you wanted to, you can look at your school and you can see if there's a green team, a recycling team. Is there recycling available in your school or your community? Well, if there's not, you could possibly head up a group, and you guys can form and start recycling in your school or your community. Another simple thing, you can join the youth environmental program and then work with your community and reach out to them and see if there's any environmental issues that you can help solve, or you can at least help to alleviate the issues. And then moving further on, civic action. So not only reaching out to your friends and your school or the local community, you're going to reach out to the elected officials who make decisions on behalf of the citizens. So simply emailing your local representative or even representatives in Washington, D.C., and letting them know how you feel about a certain issue. If they voted on a particular issue and you were happy with the way that they voted, shoot them an email and say, hey, thank you so much for caring for the environment. And I appreciate what you do. And just letting them know that you are happy that they are taking the environment into consideration when they are creating these laws. Or if you don't like the way that they're voting, you can let them know why you don't like the way that they're voting and back it up with facts. Back it up with things that you've learned here in conservation camp. And also, if there's something that's coming up or you see that there is a problem in your community, then you could also reach out to them and just let them know, hey, I see that there's a problem. We need recycling. And I always encourage everybody to, whenever you're pointing out a problem, to also follow up with some type of solution. So let's say in my community, we don't have recycling, and I really want to get recycling started, or in your school. But I'm going to use my community. I'm going to reach out to the mayor or the city manager, and I'm going to say, hey, we really need recycling. And then I'm going to open that dialogue with telling them why we need recycling. And I also am going to offer my assistance. So that's where maybe I've formed a green team. And then I'm going to say, hey, I am willing to go and visit all the businesses in my town and let them know that we're going to start recycling. And until we can get recycling established, because it is actually very it's costly. It costs money to recycle. So we have that, and we have manpower. How are we going to recycle? And so then we are going to say, I have my group of people, and I'm going to visit these businesses, let's say twice a week. And there's only 5 of us, but I think that we could help recycle cardboard. Even though there's lots more items that could be recycled, I'm going to go with cardboard. And then I'm going to take that cardboard, and my group, we're going to drive it to the recycling center on our own. And we're going to help those businesses. And what these businesses are going to see is, hey, you know what? Like, my trash that I send to the landfill, it's a lot smaller because I'm not including the cardboard. And they're gonna see the positive effects of recycling. And so therefore, they might then join your efforts and go to the local elected officials and be like, you know what, we do need recycling, and I'm willing to pay for recycling. And there's also grants through the West Virginia DEP, so you could show the town that there's recycling grants that they can apply for. And then from there, your efforts of just going to these businesses and asking them to recycle their cardboard will turn into something that is feasible, something that is sustainable, and something that you did to make a difference. So that's just an example.
So, and another thing, even though you're putting your trash in the trash can, it is making a difference, but it's all at one point. All the trash, even if you put it in a trash can, it's all going to go to landfill at the end of the day. So it's making a little difference, but not as big as recycling is.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, every little difference makes it, and it, if we all make a little difference, then I think that we can come up with seeing the big picture of if everyone does their part, um, uh, then we can see a huge positive impact as a whole. And then another example would be citizen scientists. You guys can become citizen scientists. I'm not sure if you guys sat in on the monarch butterfly presentation, but it's pretty cool. You can actually plant a butterfly garden and particularly milkweed for the monarchs. And then with the West Virginia University Extension Office, they have a monarch count. So you as a citizen, you can keep track of how many monarchs you see, and then you work with the extension office and you tell them that information. The West Virginia DNR, they have citizen scientist opportunities with fireflies. Right now, they're taking account of how many fireflies and where you're seeing them. The box turtle. Yes.
So we actually do every single year. We do, because I live on a mountain. We do a mountain cleanup, and we random people that are just like walking around in the village will come and join us, and we pick up trash all around the mountain.
Thank you so much. And it's so important. And you are making such a huge difference. That's so awesome. Thank you for sharing. And these are things that, I mean, it takes a little prep work. It takes some work to do, but don't you just feel so proud and so?
And at the end of the day, end of the day, a little difference is going to make a big difference.
Exactly. And you feel connected and you see that nature is your home. So there's all kinds of different ways to practice environmental stewardship. And again, I'm sure all of you have done so, and you just didn't know that you were a steward of the environment. So some well-known environmental stewardships, and oh my goodness, I think, let's see here. Okay, we're good. So we have just a small list of people that I have put out on here, but I mean, you can't even name all the environmental stewards that's here worldwide. There's so many people, but you might recognize some of these names. Rachel Carson, she's from Pennsylvania. She actually started out with the love of literature. She took a biology class and then fell in love with nature and the study of nature. And so she changed courses and she ended up becoming a biologist and scientist. And that was her life career, studying the environment. And she was such a beautiful and writer that she was able to take her research and her scientific findings and put them in a way and write about them where everybody can read it and be inspired and understand it. And she kind of took on the pesticide issues. She wanted to bring awareness of the utilization of pesticides and how it can affect the natural world. And she was not completely against pesticides. She just felt that there needed responsible use of them. And this issue needed to be brought to people's attention. So that's just an example of Rachel. And then Steve Irwin, me growing up, I remember him, the crocodile hunter. We have Theodore Roosevelt. You're going to learn a little bit more about him. And then pictured Carrie Fulton. She believes that everything that we do as humans essentially affects the environment. And I think that's a great story to tell. And I think that folks need to understand that that we all live in this world together, and our actions definitely can help the environment or can really hurt it. So it's our responsibility to make sure that we're doing our part to take care of it. And even though these folks that I have listed all have different passions about the earth, they either have passion about wildlife, or they have passion about just bringing, environmental justice, or they just absolutely, John Muir just loved the wilderness. He connected with the wilderness. He understood nature and understood the importance of keeping nature wild and protecting it.
And I'm not sure if anyone else feels this way, but I didn't realize it was this big of a problem until today.
What was that again?
It's a serious problem, and I don't think I realized it till today. And
yes,
I actually asked my mom, maybe when I have my next break, could we maybe go on a walk? And because we have an event going on up here, I said, could we maybe go on a walk, and could I maybe bring a trash bag or something with us?
Absolutely. That's perfect. And that is exactly what happens. And thank you for bringing that up, because all these people listed, all the folks that work to trying to keep the environment healthy, they didn't realize that there was a problem until one day. And what they did, and that's what sets them aside, is what you just said. I didn't realize that there was a problem, but now that I know there's a problem, I'm going to do my part to help to fix that problem. And so that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And like I said, these are well-known folks who are just pioneers, or they are setting the example for conservation and for stewardship. But there's so many people. And I'm sure if you look in your community, maybe look at the watershed groups in your community, or if there's a green team in your community, that's a great place to get started to potentially just understand what is happening in your town or your community and how you can help. And the watershed groups and the volunteer groups are a wonderful place to start. And then they can help you fulfill whatever mission that you want to seek out to help the environment. And I'm going to take it on down to the youth environmental program here. I pointed out some folks that are big names that people understand. Whenever they read that name, they're like, oh, that is a conservationist, that's an environmentalist. But here I wanted to share our stats from 2019 for the Youth Environmental Program. And Beth had mentioned a little bit before the presentation that we enroll groups. It could be 4-H groups, it could be homeschool groups, family groups, school groups. We enroll them in the Youth Environmental Program, and it is a free program for groups to enroll. And what we do is every spring, we offer a chance for them to fill out a summary report. And we end up just collecting all this data that the folks that submit the reports, and we're able to see just how big of a difference the groups across the state make. Now, what's so fun and what I love is whenever you guys submit the report, those reports are actually judged, and they are judged by people in the environmental education world who understand the important work that these groups are doing. And so once they're judged, then we are able to hand out over $15,000 in cash prizes to these groups. There's individual awards, such as poster contests and essay contests and artwork. And then we also will award a scholarship. It's a $10,000 scholarship to a deserving senior who has made their way and become a steward in their local community. But I wanted to highlight that, everybody can make a difference. And this is just incredible to see a total number of volunteer hours, over 34,000 volunteer hours. Recycling, I only highlighted plastic because, the single-use plastic is huge. And even at school, you might have like the little plastic milk cartons. Then we also have Gatorade bottles and water bottles. And so this is a huge problem with the plastic, but you can see they were able to recycle over 17,000 pounds of plastic in 2019, picked up 836 bags of trash. And then beautification is huge, whether it be a rain garden or a pollinator garden or just a beautification project at your local library. Those plants really make a difference. Yes.
So, oh my, what was I gonna say? Never mind.
Well, if you think about it, feel free to jump right in, okay? So these are just some ideas that you can personally do. If you are interested in the youth environmental program and you want to join, definitely reach out to us, because I think it's so amazing and inspiring to see what these groups are doing across the state, and definitely making a difference and setting an example. All right, so moving on, I think that public lands is one of the best conservation efforts that I've seen. If we go out into our state parks or federal owned lands like the Forest Service or the national parks, we are visiting land that belongs to us because we are citizens here. And whenever you start working and paying taxes, our taxes are going to the protection and the conservation of these public lands. So I'm so grateful that somebody had the passion to look at our world and to say that there needs to be lands designated to be protected. And bringing it onto the local level, the New River Gorge National Park and Preserve is in my backyard. Literally, I can walk from my front porch or ride my bike and get on a trail in this new park. So I say new park, it's the newest national park in America. It's the 63rd national park as of December. Before it was designated as New River Gorge National River. And it has been a national river since 1978, but just recently, it has been upgraded to a gold star standard of being a national park. And it says National Park and Preserve because the preserve part also allows for hunting within the park. So it is, yes.
Is the Junior Ranger books?
Yes, yes. Those are awesome. So as you pointed out, there's Junior Ranger books available at any of the park sites that you visit. And there's over 400 park sites across the nation. So whenever you go to a national park and you see that arrowhead and you know it's a national park, definitely ask them about the Junior Ranger program. And there's usually a booklet or an activity that you have to work. And then you get to work with a ranger and they will present you either, usually it's like a badge or a sticker or some type of recognition that you are now a Junior Ranger. So it is something super exciting and a great way to explore about it. This, because after we watch this video, I want to have a discussion about how I can make my own environmental stewardship action plan. Because like I said, this is my home, it's in my backyard. And I want you to think about the pros and cons of the New River Gorge being upgraded to a national park. And think of it like as an environmental steward. Think about like the impacts that it might have on the area, the good and the bad.
It is one of the most beautiful but often overlooked places in the United States. Perhaps not for much longer.
It's awesome.
It is awesome.
This is Superintendent Lizzie Watt's third tour at New River Gorge, and based on what just happened, it's hard to imagine it's not her favorite.
Are you like, why hasn't it been named a national park until now, or are you just happy that it actually did happen?
A little of both.
Just a day's drive from half the U.S. population, the New is actually very old, estimated to be the second oldest river in the world. The terrain is long, skinny, and wild.
People have been playing in this river for thousands and thousands of years and left parts of their world.
First explored and settled by Native Americans, then fought over in the Civil War, the New and its surrounding gorge have become a recreation destination. But rewind 100 years, and things looked a lot different.
The rumor is there were 13 different honky-tonks and bordellos in the red light district. It looked like a little Vegas.
It was a little Vegas.
It was a little Vegas. People come from all around to come to Thurman.
And now they come for entertainment, just a different kind.
A different kind of entertainment, we hope, yes.
Jerry Cook runs Ace Adventure Resort and is the man responsible, perhaps more than anyone else, for shepherding the gorge's transformation from mining hub to an oasis for outdoor activities.
At one point, this was coal central.
Yeah, more coal came through here in the 1910s and 20s than the whole line combined, from Richmond to Chicago.
Downtown Thurman today is population
5. It's the smallest town in West Virginia. It has its own mayor.
It's essentially a ghost town.
Yes.
Ghost coal towns like Thurman once fueled the Industrial Revolution. The trains still run through, but the mining does not. In its place, some of the best rafting runs in the world.
What is it about this river?
It like gets in your veins.
And it's a place that doesn't depend on snowpack, so you're getting a long season here.
Yeah, we get a really long season. Like we'll start in March and we'll go through the end of October, even trips into November sometimes, because it's really just kind of rainwater dependent.
Bryant Baker is a guide with Ace, who's been taking people down the New for 19 seasons.
I was told they wouldn't do this story unless I offered to be abused on the water.
Not abused. I facilitate experiences.
That sounds better
Yeah,
than abuse.
for sure.
But we're talking about class 4 and 5 or no?
Sure.
That's a lot.
It's legit. It's good stuff.
Okay, good.
So we're heading where?
Down to the New River.
With Bryant, we approached Fayette Station,
If I fall out, head away from the rocks.
Correct. You're going to head to the left.
the renowned rapid that sits just below West Virginia's most famous landmark, the New River Gorge Bridge.
They ready? All right,
Ready.
let's go. Go forward.
We'll let the water take it from here.
All right, stop. Good. Nice. And forward again. And stop. Beautiful. Yeah.
Nice.
How's that?
Good.
Good stuff. Take a look back.
There are in total 53 miles of undammed whitewater along the New, to go along with climbing, biking, and even one day a year, base jumping, the only national park where you can legally do that. This park also holds another unique distinction.
This is now the only park, national park, in the lower 48 with a dual designation that allows hunting. Why?
Because it's a traditional use. The Southern Appalachians are a very unique culture, and these mountains are very unique, but people have been hunting here forever. So when they were trying to figure out what we really should be when we grew up, allowing people to keep those traditional uses, and hunting's one of them, was really important.
Are you worried that the increased attention is going to bring too many visitors and too many new issues to the park?
Am I worried? Do I have a little bit of fear? I have to admit I do, but I think the reality is we'll figure it out.
Here's one good thing about the pandemic. People who ordinarily wouldn't be outside, especially some of the younger generation, have come outside last summer and now this spring.
COVID has nothing good to say, but what it has done is it's taught a whole new generation to come play in the outdoors, you know, to feel the water, to go on a rafting trip, to take a hike, just to sit by the river. We've seen that. That's a great change. And they'll always keep playing in the outdoors. I believe that now.
Did you see me dominate the river earlier?
You know what, Jeff? I would have been more impressed if I had seen you climb that rock face.
I've done that.
All right. So, ending this class, we'll take about 5 minutes to discuss the environmental stewardship action plan that I need to come up with, because as you can see, I live here, and my family and I, we recreate and we play in the national park, and we live here, and so we want to make sure that our natural resources are protected, that nature is protected. And so I'm just hoping that I can come up with something where ideas where I can make sure that I'm the best steward of my backyard. And as we discuss this, I want you guys to think about, is there an environmental issue in your neighborhood? And then maybe through the discussion, you can think of some of these actions that you can take in your town or neighborhood.
And super quick.
Yes.
I just found one of my little, I just found my pin from Arches where I was cleaning. So that's what they look like. They give you them when you're done the book.
Okay, great. Awesome. So that's an example of if you were if you went to a national park and you completed the Junior Ranger, usually it's a booklet. Sometimes you do have to do an activity along with the booklet. But before I stop sharing my screen, there is my contact information if you guys wanted to jot that down and if you had questions. But do you guys have any help with me, help from me in brainstorming my environmental stewardship action plan? So one thing that I have noticed already, so the national park has been designated a national park since December, and we have seen an influx of visitors in the area already. Technically, summer just started the beginning of this week, but we have definitely seen a lot more visitors come out and enjoy the park. Along with that, we have seen a lot more trash on the trail. We have seen a lot more litter in the streets. So what's something that I can do and my family can do about the litter or trash?
Maybe doing a trash cleanup.
What is it?
Maybe doing a trash cleanup.
Okay, so trash cleanup. Yes. Anybody have anything else?
Here.
So I want you guys to just think about whenever you are out in, okay, put more trash cans out around the sign and the trails. Yes, definitely, Savannah. Yes. So provide more trash receptacles, and maybe if there's more out there, then the people will utilize the trash cans. Another thing that I plan to do with my family is become volunteers for the park, because even though the park has been designated as a national park now, they still right now have the same amount of employees. So I'm going to go and volunteer at the park, and maybe that would mean that my family go to the trailheads and clean up and make sure that there's no trash left out, because we are visiting the wilderness, we're visiting animals' homes, and litter is not good for the environment and the animals that live there. And so that's just something that we locally are trying to figure out. There's people that's super excited about the park. They're definitely worried that there's going to be people that want to come in and they're going to want to build businesses. And if you build businesses, you're going to take away from nature. And we just want to keep a healthy balance of, because change is good. And moving forward and having these amazing things available is definitely a good thing. But we always want to make sure that we remember everything that we do affects the environment in a good way or a bad way. And we are a part of the environment. So just because I'm in my house and I look out the window and nature's out there, that doesn't mean we're separated. We are a part of the ecosystem, and it's our responsibility to do what we can to protect it. Okay, Mia.
And I think it's a good idea. And another thing is definitely making those trash cans bear-proof trash cans. And but what if then we still have to deal with those people that don't throw away their trash?
Yes, there's definitely going to be people that even though you provide the trash cans, they're not going to throw away the trash. But luckily there's folks like us who know the effects of the trash in the environment. So we are going to do our part to hopefully educate them, or even just set an example, because they'll see you out there picking up the trash. And I'll tell you, you guys as youth of West Virginia, seeing you guys picking up trash or going out and sampling your local stream to make sure that it's healthy. It's so inspiring to folks to see you at your age doing something for the environment. And I promise you, you will inspire someone else to do their part in taking care of the earth. All right, guys, so we just have about one more minute and then we're going to finish up and head out to the main room. But I really do appreciate you being here today. And I hope that this has inspired you to take action in your own community, because it's a responsibility that we do have, and something that, again, you're already amazing environmental stewards for taking your time on this Friday afternoon to learn more about what you can do to help keep the wild wild.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
That was lots of great information.
Perfect. Well, you guys enjoy, and if you have a break, you can feel free to just go ahead and log out, and then whenever it's your time for your next class, just log back in, and Annette can assign you to your breakout room. But I do appreciate you guys joining us today, and thank you for all of the good work that you guys already do.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
Bye.